Hi guys, Sean here from digiDirect. Today we're going to be checking out the Olympus EPL9. This is the newest addition to Olympus's pen lineup of cameras. So this is an entry-level micro four thirds camera, generally aimed at kind of a social media shooter or someone stepping up from a smartphone. So if you're looking for the most advanced camera in terms of tech specs and so on, this is not going to be the camera for you. But if you're, say, an Instagram shooter or just someone generally looking for a stylish-looking camera that's also pretty functional, this may interest you certainly. We're going to discuss all the features of the EPL9, and we'll start with the body. One of the nicer features of this camera is that it has a very cool design. It comes in 4 different colors. The blue here is my personal favorite, but you can also get it in white, black, and brown. It has nice silver trim all around it. The Olympus Pen logo has gold inlay. If the fashion aspect of your camera is important to you, this certainly looks a lot nicer than like a bulky black DSLR or similar. It's also pretty compact, which makes it easy to fit in a small bag or purse. The controls are fairly standard. There's a mode dial, a single control wheel, and you got standard buttons across the back. There's no viewfinder, but it does have a tilting LCD screen which will allow you to shoot from different angles. You can tilt it up so you can shoot from the waist, tilt it down so you can shoot like food flat lays and similar, or you can flip it all the way around for a selfie. When it is flipped around for a selfie, a few extra touch controls pop up. It is a touch screen. This allows you to adjust exposure compensation, for example, or take the photo or video by tapping the screen as opposed to having to press the physical buttons. You'll note the screen does flip around though to the bottom, which means the tripod mount is on the bottom here, so you're not going to be able to use the selfie screen aspect when you've got it attached to a tripod or a selfie stick, unfortunately. There's a pop-up flash here on the side, which is useful, as well as a hot shoe mount. And on the other side, we've got a USB and HDMI port. And the camera also has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, so you can control the camera remotely via your smartphone, or you can easily transfer photos from the camera to your phone. So inside the EPL9 is a 16 megapixel micro four thirds sensor. Nothing earth-shattering there. That's the same as what's in the EM10 Mark III, for example, or similar. But it is a very tried and true sensor. It gives very good picture quality. You also have a Olympus's TruePic 8 image processor inside of this. That's the same processor as what's in their flagship EM1 Mark II camera, so a fair amount of power inside of this camera. So this wouldn't be an Olympus camera if it didn't have fantastic in-body image stabilization. A lot of other companies have started to do this recently, but in my opinion, Olympus by far still does it the best. So the EPL9 has 3-axis image stabilization built into the body of the camera. That's going to help with your handheld shooting, both for photo and for video. So for photo, this means it's going to reduce some of your handheld shake, meaning you can use a lower shutter speed, which means you can shoot in lower light conditions. That's very handy if you're shooting indoors, nighttime, anywhere where you're not basically in broad outdoor daylight. That's going to be handy. For video, it makes it very easy to shoot really nice, smooth handheld video. It's going to get rid of most of your handshake, really, giving you easy access to smooth handheld video. You don't need any extra fancy, external stabilizers, so on, really, to use this to get really nice video. So that's awesome. So this really is not a new feature for Olympus cameras, the in-body stabilization. They have it in almost all of their cameras, but in my opinion, it's one of Olympus's biggest strengths, so I'm very happy that it is, again, implemented very well in the EPL9. The camera has a 121-point autofocus system inside of it, and you can shoot it up to 8 frames per second using non-continuous autofocus. So the camera's not meant for sports and action photography. I'm sure you can tell that just by looking at it, but it does have a very good autofocus system. I found it very responsive and accurate. And you can shoot some decent burst shootings, assuming you're using single autofocus, so you can capture some quick action sequences if you need. So there's 2 mode dial settings worth mentioning. The first is art. This gives you access to a series of pre-built Olympus art filters, some of which are new in the EPL9. Now, I think it's fairly easy for a lot of people to kind of turn their nose up at built-in art filters, but a lot of these are actually pretty good, and I think considering the target market for this camera, it's worth mentioning because I think they'll get some good use out of them. The next is AP, or Advanced Photography Mode. This basically collates all of Olympus's more advanced shooting styles into one place. This was first introduced on the EM10 Mark III. These different shooting styles used to be kind of buried all over the menus, so it's easier to access them here. This gives you easy access to, for example, Olympus's live time or live composite shooting, which is very, very good modes for shooting long exposure or nighttime photography. I would argue they're among the best on the market for this kind of shooting. But you also have access to multiple exposure, HDR, panorama, and so on. The EPL9 can shoot 4K video at up to 30 frames per second or 1080p at up to 60 frames per second. So you can get either very high resolution 4K footage, or if you're happy shooting in full HD, you can get some slow motion, which is nice. There is no external mic input, so you're stuck using the internal mic, unfortunately. But the image stabilization that I mentioned earlier does go a long way to giving your footage a really, really nice smooth look to it. So the EPL9 comes standard with Olympus's 14 to 42mm EZ kit lens. So this has got kind of your standard focal length and aperture of a kit lens, but it is an electronic zoom, meaning that it can kind of fold in on itself, making it a lot more compact than most kit lenses. That's really nice, definitely adds to the portability of the camera. But of course, this is an interchangeable lens camera, so you can swap out that lens for any of Olympus's other lenses. I think that's a very good strength because Olympus, in my opinion, has one of the best lineups of lenses that are both compact and affordable, yet still very, very high quality. For example, in particular, I think the 45mm f1.8 or the 17mm f1.8 would be fantastic additions to this camera. The 45mm would turn it into a really nice little portrait shooter with some nice shallow depth of field. The 17mm would turn it into kind of like a street shooter. Both of them are still very small, very high quality. They kind of go with the aesthetic look of the camera still. Really, any of Olympus's f1.8 primes would be fantastic, so you've got a lot of options there, which I think is nice. So the EPL9 may not be, the most technically advanced camera on the market, but I think it does a good job for an entry-level camera. It's particularly useful for someone who's maybe just stepping up from a smartphone. It has very proven and solid features inside of it. The picture quality is very high. The image stabilization is fantastic. It's pretty easy to use, and it's a very stylish little camera. I think it would find a good home in the bags of, like food or fashion Instagrammers or similar, or really anyone who just wants a stylish looking camera that also performs quite well. The EPL9 is available now. You can come to one of our stores where you can test it out or maybe see some of the other colors. We have stores in the Sydney CBD, Bondi Junction, Miranda, the Brisbane and Melbourne CBD, and Cannington, Western Australia, which is just outside the Perth CBD, right beside Westfield Carousel. You can also order the EPL9 on our website at www.digidirect.com.au. Thanks, guys. Take care.